iZombie episode 12, Dead Rat, Live Rat, Brown Rat, White Rat. I definitely enjoyed this episode, and it went a completely different way than I was thinking. This was like the penultimate episode for the season. We have one more to go, and I knew this was going to be fun. I was like, okay, this episode's going to focus on the guy that who tried to kill Liv even when he was human. He was like a killer for the company. And I was like, okay, he's like basically Max Rager's hitman. He takes people down, dumps them in lakes and stuff, and then he goes on his way. He does more bad stuff. So I was really excited to see how they were going to play out this character. And I thought, he's going to, stay and somehow control his zombieism. He's going to be with Max Rager, so I'm sure they'll have some sort of at least semi-cure to help him kind of stay under control. Or heck, maybe they just kill people for him so he could stay on the payroll and really not expose their secrets. And there's going to be all this stuff happening. And instead, he gets killed off in this episode. But this guy who potentially could have led to a huge, path with Max Rager and stuff, despite the fact that he died in this episode, it gave us, without a doubt, two of my favorite moments this entire season. The first, of course, was just the entire, we got an actual zombie on zombie fight scene, which I thought was awesome. I don't think we've seen anything like this in this episode. In the series at all. And we had some pretty gruesome moments in this one. Like, they were stabbing each other through the hands. Liv got stabbed in the stomach, then through the hand, and then she stabbed him through the hand to keep him on the desk. And she has so many knives. It was just like a martial arts movie with knives just coming out of nowhere. But it was an awesome fight scene. It was cool. It was simple, like small little space. And, the guy goes like full zombie mode. And even before that, they had a great moment with his character where he freaks out about how he killed his aunt. And he's like, she practically raised me. And he was almost in tears. And I love that. I thought like this is great writing for this character because, of course, before I thought he was gonna get before he got stabbed in the head, I was thinking this is a way to, in a sense, humanize his character, keep him around where, despite the fact that he was obviously a crappy person to begin with. I mean, she tried to kill Liv, and he did kill the one woman in the previous episode. It still shows that, despite the fact that he's a killer, he has a human side to him. He has, people that he cares about, and he struggled with that, and I thought it was really well done. And then Liv was like super badass right after that, where she's like, it's funny because I certainly never killed anyone I loved, and then he freaked out, and they have a cool fight scene. And then, he's in full on zombie mode, and then she has to go into zombie mode when he's trying to kill her. And it was just a crazy fight scene. It was really intense. And then, he's stabbing her, she's stabbing him, and then she stabs him through using the knife that's already in her hand. She stabs him in the head, and he's done. And I just thought it was really cool. Like, it was a great little fight scene. It was really intense because, like I said, we haven't had that yet. We hadn't had a zombie on zombie fight scene where they could do stuff like that. We've had Major getting beat up, which is unfortunate for his character, but that was really it. Those were like the fight scenes. It was like Major versus the Candyman, and that's really how it's been. Like, it's been that really ramping up, and they had a bit of a tussle that we didn't really get to see in this episode, but based on the end, we obviously know that Major lost. So, that was really it. Those were the fights that we had, and some stuff that Liv did when she had like the martial arts, with, like the brain of like the triad member. But that was really it. So it was a great fight scene, and then of course that led to one of the other greatest moments we've had all season long, and that was Peyton finding out that Liv is a zombie, and it was probably the best way it could have been. Like, even, it was even more amazing than like the false reveal they had before, which was a cool thing because that was with Major, and it was like, okay, well, this is something he's been going through, and he's been dealing with this, so he believes that this stuff is happening, and it was, even though it ended up being false, it was one of those things where it's like, okay, well, it makes sense. It works that way where Liv is able to tell him, this is what's happening, this is what you've kind of been looking into, and he was able to kind of accept that, and they would kind of work from there, and it was like, all right, that was kind of cool. But with Peyton, there was none of that stuff. There was no, do zombies exist? Do monsters exist? Or this or that. She was just living with her best friend who kind of checked out of life, really. And it was just crazy to see that. It was like an amazing scene. I was very surprised by that when she, looked at her, and it was like, I didn't think she would have, got up during that fight. And so she's up, and it's like, Liv just has to tell her everything. Like, this is exactly what happened. And, Peyton's gone now. We don't know where the heck she is. She's freaked out, which is understandable. I mean, zombies. She got stabbed, and then she kills a guy. Like, she stabbed a guy through the head, and just yanks the knife out of her hand. It's like, I'm fine. I'm a zombie. So, it was just that was just another crazy little moment we got in sort of the ending, one of the ending clips where it's like, Robbie's outside the door and stuff, and it's like, yeah, he can't find her, and she's just gone. Like, she now knows what Liv is. She knows the zombies exist. She's gone. Um, Major's now been captured. Liv's brother is now getting involved, so he's gonna be like another element he's unknowingly getting into something that's really crazy, and he's gonna basically just be a patsy / pawn to basically work over Liv, so that I'm assuming so Blaine can get even more brains. So I'm really really excited for next week's episode. I think it's gonna be really amazing, and there's so much stuff that happened in this, and I mean, even aside from just the ending, like, there were just some really great moments. Like, there was some really funny stuff in this one too. Like, I love the fact that I think this was the first episode we ever saw Liv not only use two separate brains in one episode, but she also went back and forth between the brains. She went from the cheerleader brain to the stoner guy's brain to get more info on the case, and then it's like, okay, this is obviously stoner mode, so she's not doing much. I need to go back to like the peppy brains and kind of get my head back in the game. So I thought that was a cool concept as well. This was a case involving 4 people, which are now that's been taken down to 2 people, one of which may be dead. I think the only person that might still be alive is the girl at the end, which I thought was really funny that she was on there, because for anyone who watches Arrow, a lot of you guys might have recognized her from Arrow, and it was kind of funny. Like, that was basically exactly how she looks in Arrow, which I thought was hilarious. Like, her in a leather jacket. I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. And I thought for like a split second in the very beginning when I first saw her, like, would they possibly do crossovers? Because iZombie is a DC comic book. It's Vertigo under DC, and I was like, is it possible that they would actually do a crossover with iZombie with the other DC shows? But unfortunately, that didn't happen. I think that would have been really awesome if that did, especially iZombie and Flash. I think would be the most hilarious crossover ever. But just the way they did that, I think is going to play out very interesting, because we have this case that starts off, they hit this guy as a zombie. He gets up, he kills the first girl, which was, one of the things, like I mentioned, like, we had some gruesome stuff. It wasn't just the fight scene. We had like some serious moments that we'd never had in the show before, and that was one of them. Like, he like just snapped her neck, and like, we've had those moments. It's like they're very few and far between, and I think this may have been only the second time that someone's neck was broken. I feel like that happens in some episode somewhere, and I just can't remember it. But he gets up and he just snaps her neck like nothing. It was just like he killed her. They mentioned that he ripped her arm off. I guess that would have been a little bit further than they could really go on CW, or pretty much any standard channel, I guess. The zombie ripping a girl's arm off. But they mentioned that her arm was ripped off. When the second guy, Nate, died, they had the little scene where basically Ravi like pulled off the little fractured brain, skull piece, and then showed the brain underneath. And that was really well designed. It was kind of gross though, and it was a cool little moment. But just the way they did things in this episode, it's like they had one zombie where it's like Liv created this other zombie, and based on the way things went, I have to assume that the guy who was like the band leader, who is the singer or whatever, he was turned as well. Like, when the guy went back, I'm assuming he's the one who went to like their storage unit and kind of screwed things up, and so he kills the one kid or something, or maybe that kid was just losing his mind. Like apparently he just lost it and was trying to kill his friends. I don't know what was going on there. Like I thought maybe he turned into a zombie at the end because he was trying to eat the girl or something, and he was like, yeah, like it was really confusing. Like I'm not 100% sure exactly what's happening. Like they mentioned like and I thought he was supposed to be, the serial killer, the guy who was coming after them, but he went to Liv's house, and then they're at this motel and the door closes, and then at the end scene, the girl is like really bloody and stuff, but she's still alive. So I'm assuming she defeated her friend, but he wasn't actually a zombie because they mentioned that when Nate died, there was nothing that showed that it was a zombie in any way. So it wasn't like he killed him to try to eat him, but at the same time, the whole place was just completely torn apart. They were arguing or something, and then they mentioned that they got a text about money, and I would have to assume that was like, bring a bunch of money or I'm going to tell people that this and that happened. But it was just interesting. Like, I'm still confused as to whether or not he ended up becoming a zombie, if he got scratched kind of in the scuffle. Like, the guy found out where they were, like, at their storage unit. He goes in, he ends up killing Nate, but it's like, he does that and then takes off to Liv's or whatever. Maybe he chases the other guy down. I'm really not sure exactly how that played out. And maybe there's some form of a little bit of dialogue that I just wasn't picking up on. But whatever happened in that ending scene, I think is actually going to lead to a lot more zombie coverage. And I think either that kid was a zombie and he tried to kill the girl and she survived and killed him, but obviously got scratched, or he just went nuts and she's just going to be involved in this case because she knows, like either way, she's going to be involved now because she knew, she's like the last surviving member of this group of people who saw this guy get up out of a grave after they buried him, and he was dead for, you would have to assume, an hour. They dug like a little shallow grave for him and actually buried him in it. He's been dead for about an hour and she saw him get up and all this, zombie stuff happening. So no matter how this stuff plays out in the next episode, it should be really interesting with her character. And if her buddy was turned into a zombie, either she's immune, and that's going to be a big factor for Ravi, who is kind of continuing his tests in this episode, or we're going to get to see her turn slowly. And this was something I mentioned before when Ravi got bit, and, he turned out to be fine. Like, there was pretty much nothing for him. Like, everything turned out okay. But she was all bloodied, and I have to assume they had, like, a huge fight and everything, and she's been scratched several times. So we might actually get to see a character have a slow transformation, because, like, with Ravi, initially when he was bit, it was like, okay, well, we've seen every other zombie turn after they died. Like, even Liv, she fell off the boat, she drowned. That's why the reaction, it kicked in like that. It was super fast because she was infected and then she died. And so it just kickstarted the whole zombie thing. But we haven't seen anyone get bit or scratched or anything like that and then live, and they just keep going. So kind of what they introduced with Ravi, and maybe that was a subtle bit of foreshadowing, like, hey, here's this little thing you guys might want to think about, because this is what we're going to actually do with the character later on. So that may have been why they kind of introduced that, and also to kind of freak us out, like, is Ravi going to, turn into a zombie? But I think that's what might happen with this character. She's either going to be involved and slowly transform into a zombie, or the kid just completely went crazy and she's just going to be involved with the whole crazy zombie mess anyway, because she's going to know and remember all this stuff that happened with this guy that got out of a grave. But I'm pretty sure she's going to have like a slow transformation. Maybe Liv will kind of take her under her wing or something like that, at least for a temporary amount of time or something. But I'm excited to see where that takes place, because that's where they end it. She dials 911 from the motel room. She's bloody and crawling for the phone and stuff. So obviously she won that fight, but barely. And it should be pretty cool to see how all this plays out in the next episode, and whether or not she does become a zombie. And like I said, if I missed something, which I feel like I did, I had to have missed something there. But they were keeping it vague, and obviously there was some person talking about money, and so they thought that she didn't know all the info, and she still thought the guy was trying to get money out of them. So I'm excited. I think that's what I'm excited for the most, because I think the stuff with Peyton will kind of work itself out. It's going to be weird, but I think her knowing is going to help. Season 2, that's going to be the big thing. And Major's still going to be the one who's, you know, I can't, I guess we can't say on the outside anymore, especially after this one. But, like, he's still not exactly in the fold 100% with Liv and Robbie. And now Peyton has really been thrown into it more than you could. There's no other way to be, thrown into it as much. So I'm sure that's going to work itself out. I think that's going to be fine. I'm sure Major's going to live. I don't know how. I'm really not sure what to expect, because Liv still doesn't really know about the meet cute, but she will in the next episode, because her brother's, of course, going to be working there. So she's going to know about it. I'm sure Robbie's going to find out about it. And they'll realize, okay, this is where Blaine works. This is where he kills kids. And it's like, this is where my brother works. And then, of course, Major's going to be there. And there's going to be all this stuff happening. Even in the promo, there's something that blows up. That could just be a part of the case where, someone dies in a car explosion. But I think it's going to be a really great season finale. I definitely enjoyed this episode. It had, an amazing ending that kind of just came out of nowhere. It was like a great fight. A crazy reveal. We find out Major's been captured. Liv's brother is now going to be used as a pawn. Peyton's gone in the wind. Possibly a slow transformation from human to zombie for another character. If she actually killed her friend, he could actually be gone, but maybe he's temporarily dead, like what they did when they hit the guy earlier in the episode. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen. I think an expansion of the zombie population is inevitable after this episode. So they had their little scuffle. It's either going to be news based, or this girl's going to turn into a zombie. But either way, it's going to spread the word, and it might allow for them to bring back what they talked about in the last episode with Scott E. and whoever he gave that video clip to, because I feel like in the season finale is when they're going to be like, this is who has the clip. And, here it is. And then that's when Major realizes that Liv is a zombie as well, because she's in that final clip. So there's a lot to look forward to. Even if some of that stuff is, not put in the finale and it's still saved for season 2. I'm excited for it. I already love this season so far. I'm really hoping. I haven't actually even checked to see if this is officially getting renewed, but I hope it does. I think it's been a great show. It's been really funny for sure. I love the writing. I think Major and Robbie have some of the funniest scenes ever. Like, even in this episode, when Robbie tries to get advice from Major, the first thing Major thinks is, like, sex questions and stuff. And it was just funny. Like, they just have a little conversation, and they're both, like, nerdy characters that actually really help each other out and stuff. And when it gets emotional, and it's just well done. So, love the funny in this episode. Love the action. Love the crazy twist at the end with Peyton finding things out and, taking off. Major's captured. Liv's brother's involved. All of these things just come together at the end, and it's definitely going to be pretty amazing. So I can't wait to see this finale next week, of course. I want to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, least favorite parts. And what do you guys think about Peyton finding out that Liv is a zombie? Like, I thought for sure that if anyone was going to find out, it would be Major, because that's kind of this storyline. But now it's like, it kind of shows that he will kind of be on this odd outside thing. Like, he's in the bubble, but he's not exactly inside the circle of, friendship or whatever, where these set characters know exactly what's going on. They know who the bad guy is and exactly why he's the bad guy. And Major is getting closer and closer to that without knowing the other main characters involved with it. He still just knows Blaine and the Candyman. And there's just, all these factors. Even Clive was there before, so he, could somehow get involved, and I'm sure they're going to be looking for Major in the next episode, so some things are going to happen for sure. But, I definitely want to know what you guys think about Peyton finding out this secret, Major being captured. pretty much everything that happened at the end, I think they're just all those things are just like really big questions. Like, where is Peyton? What do you guys think is gonna happen with Major? And of course, what's gonna happen with this girl? Like, is she gonna become a zombie slowly? Is she immune? Maybe like that's something I thought of because they, like I said, they had, um, her being immune. That was a big part of the episode with Ravi and this rat and him testing the cure, where he unfortunately lost the first rat who had become normal again. And so he made a second one and he decides, I'm going to lessen the potency of the drug, and that's possibly going to do something. So is this girl possibly the cure that he's looking for? She is, for whatever reason, the genetic code, like she's what we need, or is she just screwed, slowly but surely gonna, you know, fade to white, I guess. So I want to know what you guys think. So like I said, please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.